Hello everybody, and welcome to another Marvelous Ramble video. It is I, once again, the Marvelous Iggy, and today I'm going to talk about something unexpected. Something that came into my life and I didn't know how initially it was going to be, and ultimately becomes one of my most favorite things ever. Today I am going to be talking about The Outer Worlds. This was made by Obsidian, published by Private Division. Came out in 2019. Came out on Nintendo Switch in 2020, which is the version that I am playing, and I need to stress that just because it impacts my view of the game in a positive way, mind you. So before we get to that, let me take a step back. When this game was initially announced, I was with my friends Thomas and Justin on Charged Shot. Look in the description for more information on that, if you aren't already familiar. And I remember seeing the trailer for this game for the first time and thinking, this looks really cool. I'm digging the vibe. It's outer space, cool science fiction. That's really neat. And then I think it was afterwards, I might be misremembering some things, but I think it was around afterwards that I learned that this is the first game made by Obsidian where they're not under Bethesda's game. Because for those of you who don't know, Obsidian's fame is largely known for making Fallout New Vegas. At least I think that's their claim to fame for some people. And then that game, from what I understand, is very, very good in comparison to, say, Fallout. Some will say Fallout 3, especially to Fallout 4. But unlike those people, including my friends, I don't have that connection. I never played a Fallout New Vegas. I have never played a Fallout game before, and that stands true to this day. So technically, this would be my first experience in that. And you may ask yourself, well, Ben, why are you then talking about this now and uttering favoritism in this? Well, and the number one reason why I didn't play this game or Fallout games before is not because of the content of the story, stuff like that. It's because I personally have a problem with first-person shooter games, and not necessarily like gameplay stuff, but the games from the first-person perspective, for the most part, give me head problems, make me nausea, make me very tired. I have lost countless days to first-person games where, like, I play for an hour and I need to shut down. I need to close my eyes. My head feels weird. It's not a fun experience. And I've only beaten a handful of first-person games for the most part, and Doom, BioShock, some of the bigger games. But a lot of them I stay away from because I just can't handle it, which sucks because I'm missing out on a whole genre. But when I heard about this game, I was like, well, that's interesting. And at the time it's release, I couldn't exactly play it because it was only on PC, Xbox, and PS4. And at the time, when I got Outer Worlds for Switch, before I got Outer Worlds for Switch, I did not have a current generation console. I had my Switch. Now I own an Xbox One, so it's different. But I still played this game anyways. I got this game not knowing what to expect, and a little intimidated, to be honest with you. Even as I started, I felt very intimidated because there's so much there's not a lot of things the game throws at you at the beginning, but like all of a sudden you got these long stat reads. What do these do? What do these do? How does this affect my playthrough? And that's something true to every game, but like it kind of front loads on that. And that's not a negative thing, but I just felt overwhelmed. I wasn't sure what I was getting into. And it wasn't until, and then I started the game. I did the opening cutscene and I put it down. Wasn't really sure what to think about it yet, but I was like, I'll come back to this. And after clearing some other games, some smaller games, and one bigger game, I came back to this game. And once I got to the town of Edgewater, which is the first area you go to, and there's a guy you meet, and you'll see him later on in the video. You actually should be seeing him either now or later on. You talk to him. Actually, you'll see like right when you get there. You talk to these people who are talking in like slogans and like, space, no other choice, space's choice, all that stuff. And I was like, this is kind of weird. And as I played more and more of the game, I fell in love with its world. And that's why this game is one of my favorite games of all time. I'll talk about the mechanics and stuff like that in a moment later on, but the number one reason why this game is one of my favorites is its commitment to its world. I've played a lot of video games over my lifetime. And sometimes, in most games, I'm invited to this other world where I am plucked right in the middle of this epic story, and I believe it. Other times, I'm kind of just there, and I don't feel part of anything. I'm just kind of like, okay, let's just play the game. Play the game. And the beautiful thing about the Outer Worlds, and I think it's its best quality, is how it does a great job of sucking you in and making you feel part of this world. It actually feels like I'm role-playing. So I'll start with my character. So the beautiful thing about this game is not just how you make your character play, because that's very expressive as well in terms of, do you want to be more stealthy? Do you want to have more? Be more hand-to-hand person? Do you want to have more long range? Do you want to be a coward? Do you want to be that's like in terms of how you handle your companions? That's all fine and good. My favorite part about this game is the fact that instead of me playing the role of this character, I felt like I was the character. I was this person awoken from the cold by Phineas Wells to help this problem. Like, that was me. Anytime I played this game, it was me playing. I was talking to these people. I was making these decisions. I was doing all these things. Like, it allowed me to combine how I would actually be and put me in like in this world. Like, I would try to be like that. And in my first playthrough, I like, considering what the story of the game is, I put myself like I'm gonna save this world because it's under the crippling bars of a capitalist society, and I need to help these people. These people are suffering, and you can do that. But if you want, and the beautiful thing is, if you want, you can be a complete asshole. You can just be, I don't give a single fuck. I'm just here to get paid. I don't care what happens to people. Fuck all y'all. I love that. It lets you choose. It lets you roleplay. It lets you be who you want to be in this world. From the conversations to how you handle your weapons to how you talk to your companions. And I'll talk about those more in a bit. It's amazing in that sense. That's what kept me back going. As cool as the combat system is, as intriguing as the story is, what really kept me coming back is that in a world where, in the current state of the world we're living in, where it's really hard to feel like you're making a difference, right? That, like, you're not, like, sometimes that weight of the world pressure can get onto you, and, like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I should be doing more. Why am I not doing more? God damn it. And some people just can't handle it well. There was a time where I couldn't handle it well. Like, I was in crippling anxiety just in my bed. I just, like, I need to shut everything off because I'm powerless at the world at hand. I can't affect anything. And then comes this game where I can actually affect change. I can help people. I can be the good guy that I want to be. I haven't had that feeling since I played the original Mass Effect trilogy back in 2013. That's a long time. I played a lot of amazing games, right? I played a lot of amazing games, a lot of amazing worlds. This one, I think, is on, like, just the fact that I was able to be me is the greatest testament of the game, in all honesty. And by saying that, not only the commitment to making your character be who you want, the other favorite part I have of this game is the commitment to the world. And what I mean by that is, from the start, when you're there and you meet the people who after you crash land on Edgewater on that planet, and you start hearing people talk in like slogans, and you see more of Edgewater where everybody's seemingly a corporate drone. That commitment is always there, 100%. And as sickening as it is at points, it's amazing. It makes the world feel believable. Like, there's so much little bits of lore that you find throughout. You'll hear random pieces of dialogue. You'll find random notes. You'll do loads of side quests, where you learn about like a particular town's infrastructure and why this particular thing is doing this and not in this particular doing thing that. It's amazing commitment. It's a lot of work. There's probably stuff in this game, and even when I was recording footage for this stuff, I saw some stuff I didn't see in my first playthrough, which I was like, oh shit! If I did it this way, then this way, and I think that's amazing. To commit resources, I think that's so amazing. To commit resources to something the player may never see, that's bold. But I love that, because then it tells me, oh, I have other stuff I should still see, and it might be small and it might be new, but to me that's worth the value. That gives me excited to the fact that yes, I've already beaten this game, but there's still stuff to discover, and I love that. The main campaign isn't that long if you just do the main campaign. The juicy content of this game is its side quest, is you helping out other people or not helping out other people in some cases, and I love that. And it all circles around to this Bible that they clearly had of this is the rules of the world, this is how everything functions, this is how everything works, and it never falters for that. It never falters for that, and I honestly love that. And I don't show it here because it's a little too far out, but it's ultimately exemplified in when you get off Edgewater for the first time, you go to this this ship called the Groundbreaker that's outside of that's outside of control of the board, who are the bad guys in this game, and you meet this guy in a moon mask who's retail worker drone, has to say all these things. And one of the things you do is you talk to him multiple times. You talk to him, and he's trying to keep up his corporate talk, because he has to do that in this world. You have to talk that otherwise you're going to get fined, fired, and that's the worst thing that can happen. It's worse than death in some cases. But then you start talking to him more, and you peel back layers, and the man starts crying because of the state he's in the state that the world is in, and it's so heartbreaking. But that only works when you establish something in an Edgewater. That's the only way it works. And God, Obsidian, seriously, this is the best part of the game. The commitment to it. And as much as I love that, right, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So as you go on further in the game, you eventually gain other party members, other companions as they're called, and apparently this is a staple in the Fallout series. Again, not privy to that, but it's the thing that comes up. And my God, if you thought the writing was amazing for just the main story campaign and the side quests, when you get companions, starting with Pravati, who is possibly one of the best side characters of all time and has the sweetest side quests of all time. And I won't spoil it. This is, or anything like that. But, oh my God, they're so, one of the hardest parts I've seen in video games is writing companion dialogue. Because sometimes it can venture on being too stiff and not organic. And sometimes it can be, way too over the top, way too campy, and not make sense at all. And it's very difficult to find that perfect balance of bringing a group of people together and making them evolve over time, friendships evolve over time, and making them seem natural. And Obsidian did it. And the best part about it is it's not through cutscenes, it's not through stuff like that. You're allowed to take up to 2 companions with you at a time. And as you explore an area, they'll start talking. They'll just start talking to each other, and they'll talk about, depending on who you bring, either it's one person or another. They'll start talking about little antidotes, little things, stuff that may have happened on the ship, stuff that references a side quest, stuff that represents a personal quest that they're going through. Oh my god, I always was ever entertained by it. I never felt tired. It kept me, honestly, wanting to bring back, change my party members up, even though, like, maybe from a gameplay mechanic, okay, maybe it's not best to bring this person. I didn't care, honestly. I just wanted to hear my characters talk. Like, the closest feeling I could say I got to a game like this was Final Fantasy VII Remake that came out this year, where just seeing, those characters talk to each other organically, like real life people, and it's written naturally. Like, that's beautiful, and Obsidian captured that magic here. It's so perfect. Like those, honestly, so far are the best parts of it. Now, the game aspect of it all, what besides all that, because obviously, maybe dialogue and stuff like that isn't for you, and the best part is as amazing as the dialogue and the story and your own characterization is, the game itself is so amazing. And what I love about it is, number one, all of it is built around choices. As you go further to different parts of the game, you usually meet a pivotal story point where you either have to help this person or this person, this group or that group, and you're told the consequences. The game forces you to make a choice, and I love that. It's a great mechanic. Sometimes you can find the middle ground, but that's not always easy. And I love that. It's like real life. Like, it emulates that real life problem so much. We're like, well, do I help these people or do I help these people? These people make a good case. It's real interesting. And honestly, it makes for great replay value as you come back further from war. Like, well, I did this choice this time. What if I do this? What if I do this instead of this? Like, it's awesome. It's awesome. But also exploring the worlds is really great. And I know I've seen some people complain that the Outer Worlds isn't long enough or the worlds aren't big. Number one, you haven't been to Monarch yet. If you think about that, Monarch's like the third planet you go to. Or you didn't do enough side quests. But I feel like every time especially once I started getting my bearings and understanding more how the combat system worked, how the slowdown time system worked, once I understood all that, and I began to just explore, and I feel like you can kind of explore in Edgewater, you can kind of explore in the planet after, but once you get to Monarch, is when you fully understand. Oh, okay, and you find all these little nooks and crannies. There are points where I did side quests. I started side quests I didn't even know I can. Like, I just found some things, and it's great. It's really amazing. It rewards you for your exploration. Nothing's gated off. If it's gated off, it's because maybe you're fighting an enemy that you really shouldn't be fighting. But hey, maybe if you're stubborn, you can go for it. And I love that. I love that it invites the player to just go out into the unknown and explore. You're not encouraged. You're encouraged to do it your own path. There's no time limits. And I think that's awesome. And that to me is why the Outer Worlds is one of my favorite games. It's freedom. This is the closest thing I could equate to freedom in a video game. Obviously, you can't do everything in it, but god damn, it felt like pretty much I could. And I love that. Okay, will you do everything in your first playthrough? Probably not, but that's the beauty of coming back. I'll tell you this, when I was recording footage for this, I nearly just kept playing and just like, let me just start a new playthrough. Let me do this instead. And I had to stop myself because I needed to get this done. As for the combat system, I think it's actually really, really fun. And once I figured out the slowdown time system and understanding that if you hit enemies at certain points to do like that stuff was super fun. I understand that's in Fallout. Never played Fallout before, so don't have that feeling. But once I understood that, the game became much easier. And then you add the fact that you have mods that can enhance your weapons, that can give you can have an electro charge, you can have an acid spewing weapon, you can have a weapon that incinerates foes. It's so awesome. Again, it all goes down to that freedom, that customization. But I do have minor problems with this game, and I stress minor because honestly, once I played more of it, they became less of an issue. On higher difficulties, probably more of an issue, but for me, I'm a casual loving ass, not as much. I'm not a real fan of weapons breaking down and constant weight maintenance. I'm just not a fan of it. I don't think it's a bad mechanic by any means, and I think it works fine. I actually think even though you, on a normal playthrough, you don't really need to do that much maintenance. Like, you might want to keep up every now and then, but I never really felt the need to do maintenance outside of my own OCD-ness. Which it never got too intrusive. I never had a weapon break on me. I think maybe on higher difficulties it'll probably be a bigger problem, but we're not going there yet. Yeah, and that's honestly my only real criticism for this game. But I need to talk about the Switch port before I wrap everything up. So, when this was initially announced, it looked very good on, obviously, of course, Xbox One, PS4. It's a next-gen game. I think from what I understand, people are saying that it runs best on Xbox. But I think a lot of people were skeptical of the fact that this was getting a Switch port, and when this game initially came out, it was kind of rough. And I won't lie, as much I'm a person who prefers substance over graphics. The graphics weren't exactly the best when this game came out in June, and you're actually looking at the patch version, which I do think helps a lot. I do believe that they improved. I do believe that they improved a lot of the graphical fidelity enough. But I think, to me, what it says about the game is that despite its shortcomings on the Switch when it initially released, because porting a game like this to Switch is hard. The Witcher 3, just for another example, looks amazing now, but when that game first launched, from what I understand, it was very rough. Then they, addressed a lot of issues and got a big patch, and a lot of it seems fixed. I know, because I played that version. This game is also like that. Like, I think it's a testament to the game itself, to the game's core strength, that despite the frame rate drops, despite the draw distance not being super great, despite the all those other circumstances, I couldn't stop playing it. I would play it on my way to work. I would play it at work, on my lunch break, never during work, and I would play it when I would get home. I couldn't get enough of this world, even though it's not a world I want to be in, but I want to save. So, as someone who's never played Fallout before and has never experienced this feeling, this was an amazing game. This is hands down one of the best games I've played in my life. I know some people have problems with it. Quite frankly, I don't see them. I think they made an amazing job, and I don't know if their intention was to make a game that was friendly for veterans of the Fallout series to basically paragon over, or they were trying to make this with new fans in mind. Whatever it was, as somebody who is new to this type of game, I felt welcomed. Like, I didn't feel like I was lost. Everything's perfectly laid out, and I just kept wanting to explore more. I didn't want this game to end. I kind of hated that I beat it because I just wanted to play more. But I think that's a testament to a good game. I'm gonna put this game as a classification as a perfect game. And for those who don't understand that, from me, a perfect game is not a game without flaws. A perfect game is a game where it's a game that I can't stop playing. It's a game that I can't stop playing it. I need to play more of it. because it's so much fun to play. So I encourage you to play The Outer Worlds if you haven't already. And I'm looking forward to seeing if Obsidian brings more. Thank you all for watching. This has been a video a long time coming. I love this game, if that isn't clear enough. Be sure to hit like and subscribe at the bottom. Share with your friends. And no matter what, guys, stay marvelous.